All right, good evening, everyone. It's 6:30. It is April 6th, Thursday, 2017. This is the Hingham Historic District's Commission meeting. Thank you all for coming tonight. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items on the agenda for this evening. 3 of them are continuations from last time. So to kick it off, we have Mike Pollard's here. Thanks a lot for coming in, Michael.
Thank you, and Jennifer apologizes that she could not be here. My daughter is in the play at the middle school tonight, so opening night.
All right.
So pursuant to our last meeting, we made some modifications. I submitted you a new packet of drawings and elevations. The big ones were lowering the ridge line by a foot as requested. We also, if you look, we removed the gutter line on the side, the dormer side, and made those windows a little bit bigger as requested to reduce that, the number of rows of siding there in between the lower windows and the upper windows. So continued the porch through the space in between the barn and the house, drew in the appropriate barn doors, and we do have a kind of a cutaway drawing of the interior stairway. Like I said, revised windows on the shed dormer, and then the revised elevation drawing showing that it is now, the ridge line is now lower than the back of the house. So it's the low structure on the property. It's a little bit more diminutive. I've also included, for passing around, examples of the lanterns that we'll be using on the side of the house. And just an example, just the front website from Boston Sash, where I'll be buying the windows, reproduction windows.
Okay. Thanks for the updated drawings. See, a lot of the items that we talked about last time have been.
Yeah, the one thing that I couldn't squeak in was lowering the ridge line and increasing the pitch, because it really, what happened is it made that room very, very narrow when we did both, so the upper room. So I'm hoping the compromise of lowering the ridge line will be enough here.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you say you submitted the light fixture cuts?
Excuse me?
Did you say you submitted the light fixture cuts? Oh, you do have them,
Yeah.
okay.
They're coming around.
How do you, what do you think about the changes?
Oh, I think it's fine. It's a little bit smaller. It cuts into the room upstairs, but I think it's fine. I think the overall proportions look fine.
Okay.
It'll work.
Okay.
Work for us anyway, if it works for you guys.
Any questions from the audience? All right. Comments from the commission on the changes in the application?
Chuck had a zinger for me, I
Yes.
think.
I like everything except one thing that really stood out to me, and it's basically on 4 and 5. It's basically where the eave returns at the gutter line. And the proportions aren't right. And I said, I know something isn't right here, so I found it on page 205 of Get Your House Right. And it's basically this. It's this right here. That's missing right there, and I think that would change the proportions, because what
Okay.
happens is it ends up being, as it's drawn on your drawings, about the same width as the corner board.
So if you look, I copied the existing detail on our house, and that's why
Okay.
they look that way, to match the existing house. So if you look at the front facade of the house as it is now,
Okay, so that's where that's coming
that's where it
from.
comes from exactly.
Okay,
Appreciate the detail, though.
Okay. I'm not gonna raise the fuss.
All right. I do like it.
Yeah, this is a very good book when you're doing
Get your
things.
house right.
You can get it on Amazon.
Amazon has it for
$15.
this.
Got it, yep.
decide what you plan for the windows? I know last time you thought maybe you'd try to do salvage or true divided light.
What I did, I also handed, I went for Boston sash right now. That's my primary plan, is that I'll use a reproduction window from Boston sash, wood window. That seems, if I can find salvage, that would be my first option, if we find something that fits. But it's gonna be a question of finding something that's also the same size as the house windows. I don't wanna deviate too much from
Some
that.
consistency across.
Exactly.
many
That's
windows
kind
you
of been the theme throughout. And Boston Sash's reputation for doing the reproduction windows is pretty good.
Any other questions?
Is your intent to do this similar sills as well as a house
Yes,
in terms of dimensionally?
yes.
Okay. And the connector roof,
Yes.
was there an attempt to try to lower that?
We-
Get it out of the gutter?
Because we also lowered the roof line, the ridge line, so that dropped the overall down a foot again. I think he lowered it as much as he felt he could in there.
Okay. It looks like it will be a
It's gonna be tight,
two-part gutter maybe?
yeah.
And the material for the decking between the house and the garage?
What are you guys requesting? I mean, normally I would do Trex if I were doing this, but if you guys have an opposition to Trex, I'll do wood. Doesn't matter to me,
Yeah, it's
except for the
typically
finish.
wood,
Wood's fine.
mahogany.
Mahogany.
Either one.
I would assume basically spaced a little bit so water can go down through.
Yep.
Does that make sense to you? Is that how you're gonna do it?
Even though it's a covered structure, we'd have draining underneath, sloped away, usually gravel underneath. Not gravel, but crushed stone. And like I said, this side of the house, I'm trying to dry it out a bit.
Chuck, I'm just curious, were you adding a freeze underneath these?
Yes, I was.
see.
Exactly.
All right.
I was
That's what
adding a
it's called, yeah.
freeze.
Okay,
Do you know this book?
I have it.
Okay, 205.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, the photograph of the original house shows a freeze on the side, but the return,
Yeah.
at the return, it's missing on
Yeah,
the, on the original house for some strange reason.
Maybe it's a capital just at the corner board?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if
come
it was
across.
there at one time
Yeah.
Interesting,
and has
yeah.
been removed. I did have another question. Is there going to be adequate drainage over this porch where basically there's a roof that meets the garage?
Yeah, it's
Do you
gonna,
think you
it's
could
good,
get
that's a
drainage
tricky
out there?
spot. I agree, water-wise, that's gonna be tricky, and we're gonna have to
Exactly.
really, really be careful about flashing, especially at the joint point, making sure we've got, some slope to get the water out to the gutter area there over the door. No, I agree.
Okay, so you're definitely cognizant of this.
Oh, yeah.
Do you typically slope it out towards the back a little bit so it runs
I
off?
think it splits, look at that.
I know you have the gutter up towards the front, but
I think we've got it, the actual connector between the house splits as a peak, so the one part sheds to the back, one part sheds to the front.
But it's gonna tend to go right into the vertical
Right,
surface.
yeah,
So
I
it's
know.
right in there. You know
We'll
where I'm talking
liberally
about.
bituthane the side there at the joint point, which I usually do.
The three pitch on the connector, will you be doing asphalt there? Did I miss?
Probably cosmetically, I'll put the same shingles on there, but I'll
Okay.
probably go with a full ice and water bituthane or whatever the popular rubber roofing is that you underlay under there.
Okay.
That's what I typically do for something like that. I'll move that from probably to absolutely, definitely.
You're gonna
Yeah.
do an architectural to match the.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So the shingles become just an architectural detail rather than the actual waterproofing.
Right.
And something to absorb UV.
Good. Chuck, can you be the fifth voting member on this one?
Sure. I don't have a problem with the light fixture or the windows.
Great.
I like the lights.
We love the lights. I've got the same lights in the house, really nice. I've often thought that in retirement, I'm gonna start making lights like that,
be
handmade,
great.
handmade lights. Just, the money you get for them is incredible.
Very expensive.
It
This could be
is.
your shop.
Yeah.
We ready? Go ahead.
No, I wonder how expensive it is to make one with copper these days. Probably quite a bit.
You can't be making a lot of money on those, but they're still nice. I mean,
Really?
it's almost as cheap as what you get at Lowe's, and they're a zillion times better. They're genuine handmade copper lights. Solid.
The light. Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah,
Handmade.
For, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was quite reasonable.
so,
Ready for a motion?
Sure.
Mike?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness to 49th School Street to either remove of or demolish existing shed and construct new one-car garage in Breezeway per drawing submitted dated March 30th, 2017. Windows are to be 2/2 Boston sash wood true divided light. Sill detail to match existing house. Deck at Breezeway to be either mahogany or ipe wood. Clapboard, wood siding and wood trim on new garage to match existing house, color to match existing house. Light fixtures per cut submitted today. A new asphalt roof on new garage and breezeway connector to match asphalt roof on the existing house.
Thanks, Mike.
all right, thank you, guys.
Do we have a
Second.
Second from Chuck. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it. Do I get any kind of certificate for my next step? All right. All right,
And
thank
when you, well, whoever's gonna pull the building permit, it'll come over to me electronically, and then I just sign it, and you're all set.
Zoning next for me.
Oh, zoning next for you, that's right. Okay. All right, so I'll get that to you. When's your zoning hearing?
I have not scheduled yet one yet.
Okay.
I was waiting until we passed the hurdle here.
Okay.
We'll go.
You passed.
Thank you, folks.
I hope you can make the
You're
play.
welcome, Mike.
Actually, I'm going tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Bye now.
Mr. Chairman, we're still a little early, but I stand ready to
Okay.
talk about
Yeah,
the,
go ahead.
okay, in your packages, for your folders, you will see 2 flyers for advertising the Battle of Grape Island Day. It is the first of an annual event that will take place on the Sunday closest to May 21st, when the actual battle took place. This year, coincidentally, our celebration is going to be on Sunday, May the 21st, at the shipyard. And This is actually going to be a very nice event. It's great for kids and it's great for adults, and I think there are a lot of people who don't know about the Battle of Grape Island. So let me just explain. I'll just give you a little bit of information here. On May the 21st in 1775, a party of British soldiers and Marines sailed 2 sloops and a schooner to Grape Island because they were going to obtain supplies from the farm of loyalist Elisha Leavitt. And Mr. Leavitt owned a number of islands in the Boston Harbor Islands, and he owned Grape Island at the time. So, being a loyalist, he did say he would offer provisions to the British, and they came on Sunday, May the 21st. So, Hingham's militia responded to an alarm, and because they couldn't get to the island until the tide came in, they couldn't get their boats out. So they started to fire on the British to no avail because they were too far away. So when the tide came in, they took their boats and made way for the island, and they scrambled onto the island, and at the same time, the British were leaving from the other side. So the British had already loaded some livestock and hay, but there was still a lot left. And so the British began to fire on the Hingham militia, which returned fire. And then they proceeded, once the British were too far away, they proceeded to burn down Elijah Leavitt's barn and the remaining 80 tons of hay that he had, and then transport all his livestock back to the mainland. So in the meantime, they were joined by militia from other towns, Weymouth, Braintree, and so forth. And there's another little twist to the story, which you shall find out about when you come to the event on May the 21st. There are going to be refreshments, and there's going to be a proclamation read about the Battle of Grape Island. There's going to be a speech. Selectman Paul Healy is going to talk about the entire story of Grape Island, and there will be a reenactment by the Hingham militia. So it's going to be a fun day and a few surprises. So all you folks at home, can they see this, Mike? Okay. This is going to be plastered all over the place, and it's on the town website. So, and I may add that this is a joint effort. There's a committee of 4 of us. Paul Lasordo, who's a member of the Harbor Development Committee, this was his idea. And we took it before the selectmen. And Master Sergeant Keith German, Senior Master Sergeant Keith German is he's helping us with this as well. And also Pete Hall, who is captain of the militia. So we've got a nice group. We're accepting donations for the day if you want to write a check. You don't have to, but it's going into a specific account in the Preservation Projects Fund. So this is just a town-wide thing. It's great fun, and hope to see you all there. Any questions?
Thank you.
I think I remember getting a nice case of poison ivy on Grape Island.
Oh, you very well may have. You may have. It's really a nice destination. It's part of the Boston Harbor Islands, and, they take care of it. Right now, the island it is owned by Weymouth, and they will probably be joining us in the celebration next year. I think Mayor Headland will be coming. And we'll also have some other visiting folks, so it's going to be a nice day. Rain or shine.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, and with that, let's move along to the next application. This is also a continuation from last time, 77 Leavitt Street. This is for the renovation of a barn and garage, the rear of the property, and a small porch out back.
Good evening, folks.
Hey,
Hi there.
I'm
Good to see
Heidi
you.
Condon, of HC Design. Nice to see all of you. This is our homeowner, Andrew Williams. So you all should have the revised drawings from our last conversation. I also printed out, I just thought it was kind of interesting, this little blurb about how you figure out the cupola. And I'm hoping it's the one you were talking, they said it was the old-fashioned tried and true. And you actually take the length of the ridge, multiply by 1.25, which I thought was really interesting, and we were 1 inch off. So we, if you calculate it, it's 29 inches. Our cupola is 30, and we kind of, Andrea and I, and we all chatted about it. And I believe John also looked into it.
No, actually, it was Mike.
Oh, Mike. So I think we all concluded that 1 inch wasn't enough to really make a difference. And this was another cupola we found. It's all wood, and it's much simpler. It comes in the 30-inch width, and that's what we've shown on the top of our barn garage. So it will look different than the one that's behind, but I don't think you can ever really see both of them. We also, can I steal these?
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, those are all copies of the same.
He just kind of walked down the street to kind of show what you can see too.
Oh, that's great,
Which is
Andrew.
really helpful as, you know, a passerby or someone walking down the street. You can really see, once you see this in front of you, that you can never see the whole garage. You kind of always get an angled look. And, you know, we just want it to be simple and barn-like. And we do love the colors, because I think that will really make it look like a barn. So we'll kind of pop with the color, but, you know, our feeling is it'll, you know, with the red, it will look a little simpler, like a barn. So that's our kind of thought process. The drawings that you have, in plan and roof plan, you'll see how we lowered the storage shed roof, so it's a lower hip roof, and it kind of separates itself from the garage gable, so it's simplified. We've simplified the cupola, and we've simplified the garage doors. They're just going to be solid, painted to look more like a barn. We've added the double-hung windows to match what's existing, and then we've also chamfered the vertical edges of our rough-hewn beams. I think it was a great idea, and it'll look kind of cool. And then if any kids run into it, maybe it won't be you know, as sharp.
Don't count on that.
They might be throwing each other at them.
Are you planning a weather vane?
No, we kind of thought the cupola was meant to look like it was venting the barn, and we never really,
Yeah.
I don't think we want to decorate it. If that makes sense. Sorry?
What color?
I was going back and forth. Would you like it red or green?
Maybe red, because if it's the darker color, it might just blend in with
Oh, with the roof?
with the roof. I
Yeah.
don't have a strong feeling, but I actually think, because part of the idea of it was, again, as you can kind of see, there's a big massive roof, so something to break that up a little bit. So
Yeah. I think
I would probably go with the red, so it contrasts a little bit more and pops out. 'Cause I think otherwise, again, it'll just be that when you do see it, you just see roof, 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 roof.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
The red? Yeah, I think that'll be nice.
And the trim, all the trim is red.
Yes, we wanted everything kind of monochromatic except for the doors.
The doors are
And
gonna be,
That cool black green.
oh yes, I remember.
Say
Yeah.
word,
Yeah.
say word pine.
Say we're pine.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the same color that was approved for the front door of the house.
Yeah, it matches the
side
doors,
door.
the side and front on the house, yeah.
In the new windows, looks like you've got two. Are they true divided light or simulated?
We
Well,
used
true.
Brosco
Yeah, they're
last
true.
time.
They're
The
the Brosco
Yeah.
single pane, true divided.
That should have been in your packet we provided
It's
last
in the
month.
detail packet,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's exactly what we use on the main.
Yeah, it's the
They look
same,
great.
same as the house, yeah.
House.
Great.
What was the red that you chose?
Shaker red? Is that the name?
Let's see.
I believe it's
I believe it's shaker, but that was in your packet as well.
I think it's Sayward Pine is the doors and.
No, it's gonna be good at
Yeah, I want to say it's Shaker Red.
Thought I had it here, but maybe not. But I think
Oh,
it,
great.
Is it
Yeah.
Shaker Red? Yeah.
great.
That was one of the historic colors.
Any other questions, comments? Thanks for taking our suggestions.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I thought they were all great suggestions. Some of them we were toying around with anyway, so it's all an improvement.
Good.
Shaker red.
Yes, shaker red.
Next to my secretary.
Lois, would you like to make a motion on this application?
You knew that was coming.
Sure.
Well, you were diligently looking up all these.
Yeah, diligently.
So your secretary can get you any paperwork you need.
Okay. Secretary, do I need anything more than the new revised?
Well, other than the shaker red, which you've written
Just
down
that,
here,
okay.
yeah, and the new
Yeah.
cupola.
Yeah.
And you got the,
The new revised plans.
Yeah, and they have new overhead garage doors on there.
sure.
What will it go, what will, Heidi, what will the garage doors? Just so I can say
They're,
what they
they're
are.
clopay. We have aluminum now. We're doing a clopay. It's still going to be a metal painted door.
Metal painted door.
It'll be the same frame.
Heidi,
Do you have this?
is the cupola gonna have a wood roof or a shingle roof or what?
So I kept going back and forth about that. I would leave it wood.
I would do wood.
I just want it
You
simple.
gonna
I don't want
paint
it,
Better
I
hang
don't
on
want
to
it flashy. I was gonna paint it,
Okay, the same red color?
unless you have a better
Revised is March
suggestion.
28,
I
2017.
just kind of wanted it to
March 28.
blend. But do you think it would pop if we,
I think it might be better if it have a shingle
oh,
to match the,
yeah, we could, that's easy to shingle it.
Oh, that's fine. So
Yeah, I never, yeah. No, that's a
Stay
great
away from
idea.
copper, it's too,
No, I wasn't gonna do copper. It's too
Definitely not common. So
flashy.
you're saying do the
The same,
same as the other.
sides,
Does that make sense to
so
you?
it basically matches, so
the
the
shingle
sides.
asphalt,
Exactly,
Got it.
right? The shingle asphalt. So it's like a roof. It's a roof.
exactly, it's a roof.
Yeah, I
So
think
it
that's a
matches,
great
so you have
idea.
the sides are the same as the shaker red. And then it actually
Right.
has shingles, it's shingled like the rest of the roof.
Exactly.
Yes.
Does that make sense to
Yeah,
you?
that's
Yeah,
fine.
I think
Yep.
that's a great idea.
What was that?
What was the idea?
The
The roof of the
cupola,
cupola is
Okay.
gonna be shingles to match the other roof of the building.
Okay.
I knew I didn't want it copper.
No, no,
I
no,
hadn't really figured out.
because then you've
But that-
got issues as far as, patina and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's too flashy for this. I think the shingle is a great idea.
No glass in the overhead garage doors.
No,
Correct.
yeah, so the new revised elevation.
That's accurate.
Yeah, that's
accurate.
the actual door. Anything else?
Anything else I've forgotten in this? We need a bonfire at the end of our Our term. Okay, I'd like to make a motion for 77 Leavitt Street to change up the barn according to the revised plan dated 3/28/17.
Yes.
And that would be labeled A1-0, A2-0, and example 2-0. Garage to have shingles matching the house?
That's what we've shown, yeah. They're
Okay.
shingles and we're just painting them,
Just
that,
double check.
yeah.
Shing-
I don't think the clapboard, it doesn't look like a barn.
Yeah. Cupola to match the garage, top of the cupola to match the garage shingles. Cupola to be painted same color as the garage. Garage will be painted shaker red with Sayward pine accent color on the garage doors.
And windows.
No, the windows,
Just the garage.
just the doors,
door.
yeah, the windows and
Yep.
trim are all
I
red.
remember that.
Yeah.
The garage door will be a Clopay Design 22 without the glass.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Is that it?
Brosco, true divided light windows.
I even wrote that down.
I recommend that you add a line that explains why the metal doors are being approved.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
because,
Sure.
and I can do that, that's because they already have metal doors.
Metal doors are there, they get metal doors again.
That's right.
Trim to be shaker red, right?
Yeah.
We got that.
And cupola to be 30 inches based on the formula for the ridge height, ridge length.
Yes, ridge length.
Okay, good. Do we have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys, have a good evening.
Thank you, this is gonna be a nice
Thanks, Heidi.
project.
Thank you very much.
Nice job, Lois. And Ben.
Ben,
Digging through the paper that's killing me.
lovely
I
sister.
saw her the next day.
Time chatting with her.
Yeah.
Hope they can do what they want to do.
she
It might rely on you.
Okay. John, you want to come on up? Okay, this is also continuation from last time. This is 974 Main Street. We were out to see the property last weekend to get a look at the garage and some of the proposed changes there and the site, how it's going to all fit in. So thanks for being out there on a miserable Saturday morning.
Just handouts from the site we discussed. I'd like to have my version of this as well. This is that rendering that Chuck had suggested.
Thanks. Oh, yeah, that does make a difference to see that.
Thank you. I don't have enough copies, but I do have
That's all right,
black and
that's
whites
fine.
and the statement copies.
I got a chance to look at that over the weekend.
So basically, you'll be prepared a rendering, and also we made a plan adjustment, as we discussed at the walkthrough, where we
set in the addition from the side of the garage, 6 inches, basically the width of a corner board, to create a clean break and to give it a little bit of a shadow line on the side so that it would differentiate it from the existing garage, beyond just having a trim on a coplanar facade. And we feel that that really has minimal impact on the overall design in terms of layout and massing. The back view from the backyard has essentially not changed other than a very subtle 6-inch inset on the left side, which we think is very minor. And beyond that, I believe we clarified some questions at the walkthrough. And if there are any other questions, I'd be happy to go through them.
Got one question. I know at the last meeting, we talked about whether the corners of the garage were gonna be trim or whether they're gonna be the woven corners. Looks like in your drawings there's trim, but in the rendering it's still woven corners. You decided what you wanna do there?
Yeah, I think we're leaning towards the woven corners, basically leaving the existing condition as is. I think after Ben's question, I think it could really go either way, but there is a little bit of a tension with the amount of space left between the 6-inch corner board and the trim of the garage door, so we think maybe we'll just leave the existing condition as is, the woven corner, and have really minimal impact on the building other than what the rendering shows, you know, the dormer, the windows, and the garage doors. So that's our current thinking on that.
John, did we ever determine when this garage was built? I think there was some, we really weren't sure because it may have been before the district was put in place.
Yes, I do have an email exchange with the previous owner, and if you don't mind, let me just look that up.
Sure.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was built in '91.
Okay.
But I don't have the documentation as to whether it went through an approval or what
The
the,
district was in place then, right?
I would think so.
It's about 87, 88, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, most of them were completed by 88.
The current owner put the,
no, a previous owner
Previous
put
owner
up the
did.
garage, and I had reached out to him to find out what used to be there.
yeah,
And he said in his response that the garage that used to be there was not an original building. It was, I think, a very low shed roof structure that wasn't in good shape at all. Maybe it was put in the mid-century, I'm not sure, but, so the previous owner took that down and put up this garage. And, so yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I believe 91 is the date.
well, it does appear that this went through a review.
Must have.
and,
Review started just as soon as the district was established.
Yes.
So I think the main questions were related to the windows, and how that was gonna work. Chuck, I think you wanted to see that 3D drawing.
Yes, I thought it was important.
What do you think about that rendering?
Oh, I think it makes a big difference to be
Okay.
able to see this. And I think it breaks up that roof area, which I was hoping it was gonna do.
Okay, great.
I've got another question regarding the barn, because the new drawings, A 2.1, A 2.2 show corner boards on that garage, and they also show them at the extension of that. I assume that those are all woven corners now, am I right?
Yes, so the intent was that we would eventually change them to woven corners, and I'm happy to submit the flat elevations matching the renderings as well,
Okay.
to reflect the woven corners of the.
Now, does that mean where we got the 1-foot setback, that that's gonna be a woven corner also?
It's actually a 6-inch setback.
6-inch.
I think within the back, we were hoping to maintain the corner boards, just to differentiate the garage a little bit.
What about, if we look at proposed rear elevation number 1, if we look at the far left, we see a corner board there. Is that gonna be a woven corner there, or are you proposing a corner board?
This is on A 2.1.
2.2, rear elevation, over at the far left.
Yes, that would have to be a woven corner to stay
So that is a
consistent with the
woven corner, that's
garage.
6 inches.
Correct, whereas the rest of the addition, I think, would maintain the corner boards in the back. Yeah, that's a
Okay,
great
so that's
question.
gonna stay a corner board.
So on the new portion, it's corner boards and?
Yes, right, since we feel that it not only differentiates it a little bit, but it's mostly going to be visible from the backyard.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that, I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, there does need to be some coordination between the rendering and the latest package, which I'm happy to amend.
And that dormer on the garage is also gonna be same material.
Correct, woven corners,
Corner corner.
shingled.
Exactly.
Yep, stained to match the existing house. The number of windows on the garage changed from the initial drawing. Looks like they're, 4/4 for each door. Is that the intention? For the dormers? No, just the garage doors. That was actually not the intention. So in that case, the 2D drawings reflect the current thinking on the proportions of the glass in the garage doors.
Okay,
So the rendering is more of a placeholder there.
okay, so you're gonna
The
go,
rendering does show more lights for each section, but we do want to echo the slightly larger proportion of the 2/2 windows. So the flat elevation
okay,
with the 6 windows.
Oh,
per
okay.
door.
so you wanna go with 6 versus what you had initially? I
Correct.
guess you had 6 initially, okay, all right, I got you.
So the main update to these drawings would be
This is
the
correct.
woven corners,
Don't
essentially.
go by this,
Don't this, but this.
this. So, A 2.1 governs.
So, I just want to get a sense. I'm the lone ranger on recommending for the absence of dormers. I could speak to that.
I don't know, we haven't
After
heard
today?
we haven't heard from everyone, Virginia.
I spent a lot of time, you have the hardest, this is one of the hardest ones, because you don't have a lot to work with. You've got a shape. And I think the volume was always wrong. There's something wrong with the volume versus the square footage there. When I stood underneath, I actually think the dormer helps. So I got on the internet, and I started looking at dairy barns. Never mind the cupolas, but I brought pictures of dormers. And actually, your dormer is better than a lot of the pictures I see. But it supports, what it does is supports that there is something wrong about the original dimensions just aren't right for that gambrel. And I think the dormer is gonna soften that. It's gonna start to make it look right. I can go either way. In all the dairy barns, they don't have glass. I might have found Tonto. I'll tell you. Anyhow, I just passed it, just to prove that I did. I got really caught up in looking at it and thinking this was getting harder and harder the more I looked. And I think it's, for me, it's taking something that's very difficult and making it a little bit better, maybe even a lot better.
That would certainly be our argument, in that it would break up the vast expanse of asphalt shingle you see on that first slope of the gambrel.
If it were set back, and if it were wider, it'd be a different story.
Yes.
The only other thing I might throw out, I don't know the answer to, is what if the color didn't match the house? What if it was something that could kind of make it recede? I don't know if that's,
For the dormers?
I don't know, for the whole building?
The clapboards.
Kind of like what, Leavitt Street's thinking of doing?
It's too close to the house, I
Too
think.
close for it?
Yeah.
Just curious, it was just something I thought.
Putting this in a dairy barn perspective, I think this is a caricature of a dairy barn rather than a reproduction or something like that. So what does it really matter about dormers in that sense?
I think from an architectural standpoint, it's more about, I guess, seeing less of a steep, vast asphalt shingle roof really dominating the existing house versus adding some refined massing with some windows and some lights and some shadow lines. We thought that alone, if done carefully,
Right,
could be an improvement. So that's kind of our
yeah.
position on
And you never see a dairy barn hugging a house. No.
it. Yeah, it's close, it's
So
really
the,
close.
so the,
Maybe a Dairy Queen?
Yeah.
I think the dormers are a big improvement. I think, Lois was right on with the proportions of that existing barn are just a little off. And I think with the addition of those dormers, I think that's a big improvement over what's there.
I've got a question regarding that dormer. As we're looking at the perspective, we see the two windows. I looked at the plan again. What would you think about adding a third window in that dormer as exists on the opposite side? It's in that large space.
I think that would be fine.
I'm just throwing it out as a possibility.
You would rather see more windows on this
Well,
side?
I'm not sure. I think it might help break that dormer up a bit.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. I think we have flexibility there. Feel that should be more symmetrical with the opposite side. 3 windows each.
But you really can't see them at the same time.
You can't.
It gives more light into the interior space.
Right.
And it also, from the perspective that we're looking at, I think it breaks this up a bit more. I don't know how others feel. I'm just telling you what I feel.
How long is that dormer?
Let me just confirm that. It's 17 and a half feet long.
The windows you're proposing are, what, 3?
Right, so we have 3 windows on one side.
3 feet. I'm just,
It would look more like that. That's the opposite side.
Yep.
With 3 windows.
yep. So that shed is, that dormer's the same width?
It's the same shed. One's
Okay.
got 2, one at each end, and this has got.
They're 30-inch wide windows.
So you got plenty of room to work with.
Side
Yeah.
with 3 windows.
Yeah. And looking at the interior, it looks like that's just a plain wall.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think Chuck points out the south side of the house with the 3-window configuration looks better.
I feel it's
Looks more appropriate for that 17-foot width.
Sure, yeah, I think, the space is open, so I think we can add that dormer, the 3rd window in the middle, and
Okay.
I think enhance the design.
That was the goal to begin with, which you wanted to get light in up there, right?
Correct, yes. A little bit of headroom, not a huge amount of headroom, and light. And just make it feel less like claustrophobic. Second floor of a barn and more of a usable room.
Any other comments, thoughts? Do the architects need to see amended drawings to move forward on this, or is this something that we could
I don't
just?
feel it's necessary.
Okay.
I think if you can just resubmit them for record.
Yeah, I'm happy to make the adjustments and
Changes there.
resubmit.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. Chuck, could you do a,
Yes,
thank you.
I will give it an attempt. Has anything been approved on this yet, or are we basing?
No, not yet.
All
That's
right.
the thunderstorm coming through that I mentioned,
Right, right.
coming up from New York.
I
Miles
move
an
that we
hour.
grant a certificate of appropriateness to 974 Main Street with the following, let's see, we got two sets of drawing. How do I want to do this?
The new set would be dated March 31st, 2017.
Correct.
Drawings A 1.1, A 2.1, A 2.2 with the following modifications. A 2.1, the corners at the garage are to be woven. The corners at the dormers are to be woven. The same is true on A 2.2 at the rear elevation, with the exception of the rear extension, which is to retain the corner boards as shown in this drawing. Let's see. The dormer, which is going to be, I think it's the left side. The left side dormer is to have an additional window so that it mimics the dormer on the right side. Colors and roof materials are to match the existing house, correct?
Correct.
Is there anything that we need to add from the set we reviewed previously?
Windows to be,
True divided light, is that correct?
Right now, we're showing the front window to be true divided light, and the dormer windows and the windows in the back to be simulated divided light. That's the way the window schedule was put together, since the front windows are more prominent.
I also want to add that on A2.1, that the elevation of the garage doors is to basically govern. The perspective is not correct.
Got a question, clarification on the windows again. It looked like, based on your window schedule, that all the windows on the existing barn are actually true divided light, but that only the windows on the new bump out are simulated divided light.
You are correct. So let
Is that
me
your intent?
correct my comment. You're correct. That was the intention, in that the dormers were also
The
true
intent
divided
is
light.
what? Simulated divided light or true divided light?
true divided light except for the rear.
Correct.
True divided light with the rear being simulated divide.
Correct.
Simulated divided light.
Thank you for
Thanks,
for
Mike.
noticing that.
Garage door to be wood
Correct.
with 6 lights each door. Yes.
Would the board consider simulated divided lights on the dormers?
On new construction, we've allowed that.
If that's the case, I think the owner's preference would be, even though the window schedule is worded it differently, I think if we can amend that to keep the dormers simulated divided light, if that's acceptable.
I certainly would not have a problem with that.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah, that would be great. I think that would be the preference.
There are drawings from February 1st, 2017. Do we need to include any of these?
There were some existing drawing sheets that I did not resubmit. They're the AE series.
Right,
I
right.
don't know if you'd like to.
I can include those.
Would you include those, please?
Yes, I will. I'll go through.
And then regarding garage door paint colors, we would like to submit those for approval.
That's fine.
The same thing with any light fixtures are proposed, we will
That's
submit the
fine.
cut sheets.
So basically add that they'll be submitted for approval at a later date.
You would want to match the trim on the house, correct?
That's for trim, yes, the
And-
trim would match.
And the clapboards,
Yes,
Shingles.
shingles would match,
okay,
exposure-wise and
okay.
stain-wise.
At one time, we talked about Marvin Ultimate. Are you still proposing that?
That's the current proposal, unless a
Alright.
contractor
All right,
proposes a replacement, which we can run by you as well.
fine.
And any shingle repair would be asphalt to match the existing.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else for the motion? All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Great, thank you.
Great.
Thanks very much, John.
Yeah,
See
thank
you.
you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Um,
Care everything you need, Andrea?
No, I've got everything I needed.
Okay.
You didn't good, Joe.
Okay. Running
John?
just about on schedule here. Next up, we have 48 Main Street. This is a home located in Pear Tree Hill. This is for the construction of a retaining wall on the front to match the existing wall that's already there,
Correct.
sidewalk. So thanks for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure. Nice to see you guys again.
Good to see you.
I think I'll be visiting you quite often.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, well, there's lots of stuff to be done. I wish I could get it all done at one time, but, yeah, I'm proposing to take these, well, I've actually taken these bushes down, and there's such a steep slope on that hill that I'd like to propose a small retaining wall just to hold whatever new bushes we're going to put up. We're going to put up smaller bushes so that you can really see, there's some really nice railings, and the porch is really pretty, so I want to accentuate that by just putting some smaller bushes and being able to hold the soil with a small retaining wall. I wish the drawing, I was kind of hoping, rather than an elevated drawing of the wall, I was kind of hoping she would draft like a drawing, some sort of drawing where you could see like the potential retaining wall. But she just used the photo of the house and obviously took one from up above in terms of the, to show the scope, but it doesn't really give you an idea what it's going to look like.
Is that a granite cap?
It is granite, yes. And we're proposing to use granite as well, kind of like granite curbing that would be, it would just be smaller versions of what is there on the sidewalk so that it would sort of match, but, you'd be able to lift it up there without a crane.
How much do you think will be exposed to the new wall? How high do you think?
I don't want it any more than like 18 inches.
And the U's that are planted there now, is it a gradual slope, or is it,
It's pretty steep.
It's
I don't know
pretty
why,
they did okay, though, huh?
they did fine, but we didn't, unfortunately, as you know, with all the shrubbery, if you don't keep it in shape, it just gets out of control. And I'm sure I could have trimmed it,
Yeah,
but then it would just be like woody, you know what I mean? It would be,
yeah, I think showing the, more of that porch will improve the look of the home from the street.
I agree. I actually did take the bushes down, so you can actually see it now, and it looks nice. It just needs it looks a little naked.
Does it have a foundation that you see? With the bushes gone, is there like a foundation?
No, it's just, there's like pretty molding and, how do I describe it? It's like, it's vertical slats that are held by like a baseboard kind of a thing, but it's not like a
So you're not trying to bury a foundation?
correct.
That's what just wondering. That kind of tied into how high the wall might be.
Right.
But with the U's gone, you're looking at 18 inches of,
Pretty much, just like, that would be my goal, is to
Porch.
have something like that. Oh, that's, yeah, exactly, that's how,
looking at that. So all you're looking to do is raise it up enough so that the dirt doesn't wash down into the street.
correct, and I want to make the wall probably as high as your bottom hand there, so that you can, like, that's the porch, this is the porch height right here that you walk on. Then there's some pretty vertical slats and a baseboard, and then I'd like the retaining wall to be like as high as just the bottom of the porch itself. And then maybe you'd see plants like in front of the porch, smaller plants.
And you'd have a granite cap on this also?
I don't know if we're gonna, I don't know if that's proposed or not on the, I have a local mason, Ray Dupra, that's gonna do the work, and we didn't talk about a cap at all.
It might be a little heavy if you do a cap up there. Because you're competing then with the wall in the front.
Right.
You just want it sort of, you want it to do its job and not become.
Exactly. I just want it to be like, not the focal point. I want it to be like just functional, but have it match kinda. And you're right, I didn't even think about a cap, but a cap might make it match in terms of the appearance. If there was a small cap on it, I would definitely consider that if it would make it look better, but I wasn't thinking along those lines.
All natural granite, you like to use nothing man-made, right?
Exactly. And we hope to have that done by the 4th of July, so it looks nice.
All right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Was your point that it should not, the wall should not have a granite top? You thought it might be too heavy?
Yes, if it matched the one at the bottom, it would be, you're looking at something pretty
Okay.
heavy.
Yeah, no, I think I would make it,
Yeah, that might
if I was putting any cap, it would be like thin on it, because the wall itself is gonna be, the rocks are
I'm
gonna
gonna
be,
say a flagstone.
right.
Like a bluestone cap, that
But-
kind of thing is 2 inches.
You know, you can get thin slices of granite. And
Definitely.
You know, you can do all that.
Definitely. Yeah, I would try to keep it in proportion with this, only on much small, the rock itself would be for the wall, much smaller scale, and I would think that the cap would be too, so that it doesn't look overbearing or whatever.
If we use the cap, I think it should be more of a natural surface rather than a polished surface, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Without clean
It
cuts.
should be rough.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, yeah, like the wall you have.
I agree.
For years.
You know, with plantings, it might be nice not to have the cap on that particular wall.
I'm thinking the same thing, especially also the perspective, you're looking at it from the street and you'd be looking up. It might just look very heavy with a cap on.
Right. And if plantings grew over the wall or something like that, you know, cap really wouldn't add so much to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I frankly, I'd like it to look as nice as it could look, and I want it to be functional, I didn't really think about a cap, but either way, I'm fine with it.
I think if you put a cap on it, it might look like one big Indian, one little Indian. Well, one big Indian, two little Indian,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in a sense that's not so, I mean, to give a difference to it, I think, because the space
As
is
opposed
so
to matching,
close.
right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Makes it, I think, a little more interesting. Not that we're here to determine interest, but.
Well, everyone has their own, opinion on it, I mean, hopefully at some point, maybe before the winter, I'll be back in front of you guys with plans to put a little fence, like a Nantucket fence in front of this, or on top of this, the first wall on the sidewalk for, appearance. I don't know if that will add or not, but someone put that in my head recently. I thought that was really pretty. Of course, it's in, the Walpole Woodwork is magazine that comes to the house, and it's very pretty.
I think you can, I think you're making the right first step, where you do the wall and then see how that looks.
See how it looks.
Your plantings, and that might be enough to.
You're right,
um,
exactly.
The fence might be too busy,
No, I totally agree. And you know what, the fence, for me, would take the sting off of, I don't really love the plantings that are there. They're that, the blue rug, I don't know if it's it's not cypress, but whatever it is, it's not my favorite, but, and the fence would take the sting off of that, but, because it used to be grass. I think, 100 years ago it was grass, but it's almost impossible to mow because you're, like this.
So is that an evergreen?
Yes.
Is
The
it a
purple
yew?
flowers in the spring?
I don't think it's a yew. What's it?
Juniper, is
It's
it?
a juniper, yeah.
The juniper. You said blue rug, and
That's a juniper, right.
Does the porch vent underneath? Is there air circulation?
Mhm.
That's important.
Mm-hmm. And I think it'll have more circulation without the bushes there.
Yes, it
you know?
would.
Questions from the audience? Anything more? We miss anything?
I won't offer advice, but I can tell you the boxwoods have really been hit in the last couple of years.
I know, but that's what I was kind of hoping to put down.
Just pay attention to what variety of boxwoods you
Okay.
get. Some are far more sensitive than the others. I can't spill the names out to you, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm finding that I'm a huge evergreen guy. Like, I don't do flowers and stuff, but I do evergreens. And every house I've ever lived in Hingham is it's been near the woods. And the evergreens love it. The soil's really acid. And I'm finding that I planted some evergreens here. My father-in-law's planted rhododendrons and other things that typically like acid. And this soil is very sandy.
Yep.
So I gotta feed them where I've never had, I never had to feed them to keep them alive. They just grew, so we'll see.
Okay. Virginia, would you like to make a motion on this one?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'd like to make a motion for a certificate of appropriateness for 48 Main Street for a stone retaining wall to be constructed, be a mortared wall 40 feet long, 18 inches high, and 16 inches deep, according to drawing submitted March 13th, 2017, and labeled number 1. And the issue on the cap?
No cap.
No cap, without,
But come back if you want to,
Okay.
just let Andrea know if you
Will
want
do.
to make a change to that.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Do we have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
appreciate you coming in. Yeah,
Competition.
good luck with
on the hill.
everything. All right. You just keep things rolling. Do we have 74 Pleasant here? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to come on and get started? This one could go a little bit, this one probably go a little bit longer, so.
Yeah.
Okay, Ken and Joy would like to make some changes to the height of the house on the main house in order to get a little bit more room upstairs. I think you want to put a third floor up there and also supports underneath the floor. So I think if I remember correctly, the total increase was a little less than a foot to the
11 inches, is that?
to the height of the roof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Thanks for coming in.
Our pleasure.
If you want to just give us a quick overview of what, how this all came about and what the idea here is. And
Sure.
walk us through your plans. and
Yep, no,
Take it from there.
Ken and Joy are looking to raise the main roof gable 11.5 inches in order to put new floor, to put floor joists there so that there's enough room to put a bedroom and a bathroom upstairs. This is the plan. So there would be a small bedroom upstairs, and then we would reconfigure the downstairs bedrooms right now, and I'm sure you could see from the existing plan, which I also have if you want to see that. There's a pass-through bedroom here, so one of their children you have to walk through the bedroom to get to the other bedrooms, so they'd like them to be able to have separate bedrooms. So we put in a staircase going up to the attic floor, raise that floor in order to put the bedroom up there and keep the existing roof pitch as it is, but raise it up. And then on the first floor, on the front elevation, we would be putting an entablature here so that when you raise up the roof, you still have something that would be historically in keeping with the house in order to raise that up and still have something that looked period appropriate. On the left side elevation, we would be making the bedroom up here would be slightly, the window would be slightly bigger, but it would have the same 6/6 light pattern. We just want it slightly bigger for egress in case of a fire, because the windows right now in the bedrooms don't meet egress requirements. And so also on the other side elevation, we would be asking to make, and these windows are more shielded, you don't really see that, but these windows, we would be asking to make these slightly bigger too, just to meet egress requirements in case of a fire, because the windows right now in the bedrooms don't meet egress requirements. And then these 6/6 windows would be relating to 6 light awning windows would be relating to the 6 light awning windows here. This shed dormer in between the two existing gable dormers is to be able to add a bed wall into their daughter's bedroom, so that there's a place to put the bed against one of the walls, because there's really low knee walls in there right now. When we put the pass-through in there, then it allows for a place for that to go. And that's what it looks like from the left side elevation, so the gable dormer is set back farther here, and then this is just a window into the bathroom upstairs. One of the windows that we'd be making larger here. Also on the rear elevation, there would be a shed dormer, which you wouldn't obviously see that from the street, but a shed dormer here to allow for stair egress. And we would also raise this so that it had the same profile from the street, so that doesn't change. This rear gable would go up as this went up, so that it maintains the same back profile, and then we would wrap the entablature and the fall seam and put a pediment window on the rear. And I do also have so then you can see that this is just to show how they relate from picture to rendering.
These are great sketches, by the way. They really help.
Thank you.
They really help in understanding spatially what's going on with the new changes.
Thank you. street side. And then the pictures that relate to what's going on there.
Anything else that, anything else you'd like to share? Or?
The windows, we were planning on doing an Anderson 400 series with a 5/8 inch mutton bar. The color would match the existing. I was proposing a clad window, but with wood trim to match the existing wood trim, just so that they don't have to be painting the sashes all the time. But we are open to other windows, so
good.
that's not a sticking point, it's just a choice.
Good.
And we would be taking the eave details and recreating the same eave details, the same returns around the side, same rake trim, so that making it, except for raising it, making it look like what it does now.
Okay. Awesome, thank you. I'll just start things off with just a couple of questions. The new height of the building will be what?
30 feet, 6 inches.
30 feet, okay. And do you know your immediate neighbors, what, roughly how high those buildings are?
I
those
don't
homes?
know how high those are.
Okay. Maybe we can find that out. I noticed on the drawings, the chimney was, is that going to be,
It's removed because of access, but we could put keep a false chimney on there, so
okay.
that it still kept the appearance of the chimney.
Is it
The-
functional
It's
now?
not functioning right now. or-
It's functional, it's an insert,
Okay,
so it runs up through the middle of where the third bedroom, where the stairway would be, right?
Yeah,
Right in that
yeah.
area, so, we don't use it candidly, so.
okay. And in terms of the number of bedrooms currently and what you're going to is,
4 and 4, so we would consolidate, the 3 bedrooms on the second floor are
okay,
relatively small.
okay,
As kids get older, it's kind of tighter for them.
okay.
So that's one of the and then the connection, as Jennifer mentioned, the cut-through is what we're trying to address on 2 of the bedrooms.
Okay. All right. Let's see what the commission has to say. Any initial thoughts on this?
I've got a couple of questions. The windows, I understand what you're trying to do with the egress windows in those bedrooms. Are those the smallest you can get and still meet the egress requirements?
I can double check on that, but yes, right now we're going with a 2 foot 8.5 by 4 foot 8.5. So in order to maintain that 20 by 24, 5.2 clear opening, I think in Anderson, those are the smallest that we can get, because there's also certain clearance from the floor. So we could, I could explore other options as far as window brands to see if we could get them any smaller.
Yeah, I think that's one of my biggest concerns on here is that we're putting much bigger windows on the second floor than you'd have
Yeah.
on the first floor, and usually it's the other way. I understand
Yeah.
what you're trying to do there. The other question I had was in regard to the pitch on that new rear dormer here.
It's about a 2 pitch right now, and then what we would do as far as roofing, we could go with a copper roof, or we could go with a, rubber roof, depending. I mean, the rubber would blend more with the asphalt that's there now.
And the windows that you have in the rear aren't necessarily those egress windows, so.
No, that's why the
bring that
egress-
down a little bit. Right, so it's not so flat.
I could check. It's more about headroom clearance with the staircase than, because
That's
that's where
where
the
your stairs
staircase is.
Yeah.
Do you have an issue, Mike, with a pitch, or would you like to see a little more pitch on that?
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty flat. I mean, you know, I'd hate to see that be a rubber roof.
Yeah, I would too.
Even copper's a little out of whack, in particular with that area. I know you've got a water shedding issue, but if there's a way to get that a little bit.
We could probably get it because it has to be 6'8", so it doesn't have to be 7'6", so we could probably get it a little shallower in order to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'd be worth exploring that.
Okay.
As far as clad windows, we typically don't, we don't approve those.
Okay.
So if you wanted to go simulated divided light, if it's new, new construction, true divided light on the front. I think you've got one up in the peak there. Maybe that could be a true divided light since it's pretty close, it's pretty visible.
Yeah, and we have it there as either the true divided light or the simulated true divided light, so,
Yeah, I would, yeah, I think on the left elevation, maybe true divided light.
okay.
And then on the right side, are you putting a new one in that peak? too?
Up on that peak, there's a 6-light awning window in the bathroom.
Okay. Okay. So maybe there's a true divided light option for that one.
Okay.
And then, I think the others, just my view, are kind of more tucked to the rear, and it's newer construction, so maybe they could be simulated divided light.
Okay.
Chuck, what do you think on what, I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead, Lois, I'm
Actually,
sorry.
Chuck, it's a question for you too. The spacer bars and the simulated divided light, you usually ask for gray?
Usually. I mean, between the pieces, yeah.
As opposed to what I got in an Anderson window. So you might want to check with Anderson. I don't know that they have
Okay.
that color spacer bar.
And I know that Ken and Joy have also used LePage windows before, right? That's what you used, and so that's another option, and we're open to picking the option that fits with what you want it to be.
That's one thing that I
Okay.
just look into. I have an Anderson window that doesn't have the gray space.
Okay.
And I don't like it.
Okay.
It was an accident.
Thank you.
Okay.
Chuck, sorry to
On
interrupt.
page 2, where you've got the front elevation and the right side elevation, actually, I think it occurs on the left side also. I would like to see a detail at the frieze and as it returns around the corner. You know what I'm
Okay.
talking about?
Yes. Yep.
At least 1.5, preferably 3,
Okay.
with dimensions.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
Chuck, any thoughts on the, on page 2, the gables and the adjoining shed dormer?
Well,
With the
are you
windows
talking
there?
about at the rear?
Yeah.
Where we've got these two gable dormers and then, that seems somewhat awkward. I'm not sure what's going on. It doesn't seem to work with the rest of the house, and I don't know what to say about it.
What-
I know what they're trying to achieve. I mean, that's very evident, but I'll tell you what I really think is necessary, and that is, at minimal, a site visit, and even better would be a model, I think. Because I think there are enough changes occurring in this, that a three-dimensional study is really important.
I'd like to go out. I would like to go out and see it, because it is, in the context of the streetscape of the neighborhood, how is this gonna fit in?
Yep.
Any other thoughts on a model, or do you think, or are these sketches sufficient to kind of get some perspective. I'm open, but just want to hear some other thoughts.
There's a lot going on here, so I think a model may help clarify that.
I'll tell you what, I don't think we need to see the rear of it. You know what I mean? I think you could cut it off. I think you could cut it off right here, this one-story part we don't have to see.
Okay.
It'd just be this front part where you're raising the roof and that
Yep,
sort of thing.
yep.
And I think part of that has to do with the fact that basically, we now have pretty much a 3-story structure.
Yep.
And I think that's where I'm coming from.
So do you typically know what we, for models, how we?
No, I don't know exactly what.
So some of the things we've seen in the past have worked well, or just, foam based, where you can cut up some of these, you could blow these up maybe.
Yep,
To use
yep.
as your facades and put them on the foam board, and then just kind of build it up from there. And again,
Okay.
I think the rear part is not as important
don't
as
need to
just
see
the,
the
Okay.
rear.
as the streetscape and the left and the right side.
Okay,
I'd say 1/4 inch.
okay. Okay,
Yeah, so it's, it may help with, some of the new windows and how you're planning on tying in the, those 2 gables in the rear with that shed dormer. So I think that would give some perspective on that.
okay,
And then once we kind of get the sense of the height, at 30 foot, and we can find out what the immediate neighbors are.
Right.
In terms of the heights or not. I don't think a foot's gonna be just personally, I don't think it's gonna.
Yeah, I mean, the house is quite different from already most of the homes around it. Next door is a cape.
Yep.
We then have a significant amount of land before
Yep.
Villani's is a cape, so, and then you have Demena's, the old Demena house, which is a farmhouse up there, so it's just kind of, but again, I think a site visit, we'd be happy to have you,
Okay.
obviously.
And we'll take a look at what your immediate neighbors have in
Sure.
terms of 3rd floor.
Yep.
What their kind of the
Absolutely.
window configuration looks up there, if it's kind of out of,
Yeah, I don't mind, yeah,
yeah. So,
okay.
can we give any more feedback, at this point?
I don't believe Anderson makes a wood window. And just to be clear, I believe the commission's looking for a wood window.
okay,
Whether it's SDL or true divided light, that's somewhat open to
okay.
discussion.
Thanks for your
Yeah.
clarification.
And we will look into other options. And we wanted to keep that same, 5/8 inch mutton bar and have that historic look, so we will definitely look into what the options are.
Yeah, we've done a lot of work with Hingham lumber on some of these mutton sizes, and when you get down to smaller sizes, I'm trying to remember on the 5/8, it was, when you get really small, and I think 5/8 may have been kind of the limit, where it may be difficult to find a simulated divided light
Okay.
with that mutton size. I mean, there are options out there, but I think there's a problem with the manufacturing and being able to get it stable enough. And I think when you went up to 3/4 and 7/8, there was more of an option. But again, you have to match up what you already have with the house. So you want to try to keep that
Yep, absolutely.
similar to what you already have. So I think there were more options going with the true divided light
Yeah,
in terms of mutton sizes.
Okay.
Something to think about. But yeah, Hingham lumber is very helpful in walking through the different options.
Okay.
That's what we found.
No, I
sorry.
mean, my only 2 things were what Mike already brought up, the size of the windows and then the pitch on the dormer in the back. That was it.
What does the commission think about a chimney, without a chimney on this? Would you like to see the chimney stay, or?
I think that's why we're doing the site visit. It's hard to
Yeah.
tell from the pictures whether the,
I mean, as a homeowner, I prefer to keep the visual look of the chimney. You know,
yeah.
it's, honestly, it's something I wasn't really focused on.
Okay.
Aesthetically, I like the look of it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would be fine if
Okay.
we had to build it up, you know, put a, whatever it is, a
false
false
chimney
chimney
there.
up there, just for the aesthetic. I'm 100% on board with that. I actually prefer it.
So the chimney's not there now?
It is.
It
There is
is.
a chimney, but in
Yeah.
these drawings, you'll see it's no longer there. It sits in the middle of the gate, like, pretty much right in the middle of the roof
Yeah,
there.
yeah, because it was coming up kind of, it was a
Through the-
conflict with the stair clearance bed, you know, when we were trying to
Okay.
come up through the bedroom.
All right. So our next meeting would be in May, correct?
Yes, May.
Maybe we can come out on a Saturday morning
When it rains?
when it dries out.
We were out last Saturday morning, that's why.
Yeah, if you could just let us know, you know, you don't need to get into the home, right? So,
No,
No.
I mean, we're never home on Saturdays, so you can just walk by. I'm indifferent. We'll let the neighbors know.
The 11th?
I think it is the 11th, yes. Wait a minute, I have a schedule, I think. Yes, I do. It,
So I would
May the
say,
11th is the
so
next meeting.
22nd or 29th, or May 6th, whatever works best for people. I could do either one of those. Actually, I could do the 22nd or the
We're
6th.
talking April.
Yep, 22nd of April or 6th of May. We'll do the 6th?
I would prefer the 6th.
I would prefer the 6th.
You
That's
guys do the
fine.
6th? Give you some time?
Yeah,
Yep, the 6th is fine.
yeah,
Okay,
that's fine.
I
And
will,
when should we have the drawings to you so that you can review them?
let's see here.
Typically 10 days before
Okay.
the meeting.
Yeah, let me look, Jennifer. I would say if you can get them to me sometime the last week in April,
Okay,
that would be great.
okay. And would you like the model ahead of time or just bring that that night?
It would be great if you could have that model for the site meeting, because then we can look at it in the context of the site.
Okay,
You can't, that's fine, but it would be, you understand
Okay.
where I'm coming from.
okay. And the site meeting would be,
We usually come around 9 o'clock,
okay,
and so we would meet you there
okay,
at the house, and then all we'd need to do is, take a walk around and you can explain the project. If you have the model, that's great.
Okay.
It'll help. If not, then it'll help the commission members visualize.
okay,
And then we can take a look at the new drawings at the meeting. We could
okay,
have them there and kind of look at them in context with the neighborhood.
okay.
Great, okay. Good. All right,
All
Awesome.
right,
thank you.
thank you.
Good start.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Thank you
very much.
very
It's a
much.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
And if we need to,
Get that. All right.
Think it's graduation?
What's up?
Really?
I mean, I'm on a 5 o'clock plane tomorrow morning, so I'm happy with that. I'm flying to DC to look at, no, we're looking at American University.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
One of your kids. It's a good school. We've got very good
Former
friends.
student there in the court call.
Daughters.
My wife went there. She took a semester there. After high school in Denver.
Oh, right.
She was like, I want to do something different. So she went and, yeah. loved it.
It's pretty good though for being
So we're a little bit early for Ben. See, see you around, or
I'm sorry.
Ben?
Let me look
Wilcox?
outside. time is he on?
We're 15 minutes early, so,
Oh, golly, okay.
yeah.
Can you cut us off for 15 minutes?
Yeah, I can
Okay, that'd be good, because there's nothing more boring than
Watching.
watching people
Right.
stare.
Okay, welcome back. Next up, we have 319 North Street. In to see us is Ben Wilcox. Wants to make some modifications to the Lincoln House. This home was built around 1650, and we learned that it was moved at one point from another location in town, and we were out to see the property on Saturday, and a lot going on there. A lot going on. So, thanks for coming in, Ben. Yeah, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Ben.
So we had a good introduction on the house, and some of you saw it. To add to that, after it was moved, somewhere around 1810, it was converted to a two-family. Many times, relatives lived on one side or the other. So it was in the Lincoln family all the way till 1940s. When it sold out of the Lincoln family, there was a lot of work that was done to it, remodeled to a true two-family. Not much has been done in the last 50 or 60 years, as you saw when you were there. One of the problems with the property is there's no parking to speak of. There's one parking space on the right-hand side, and it's a four-bedroom house. So what I'm proposing to do is add 2 parking spaces to the left side of the building. What I need to do to get the right spacing for zoning, I need 18 feet for 2 spaces. The house is now 10 feet from a side lot line. So in order to get the 18 feet, I need to remove 8 feet of the addition currently on the left-hand side of the building.
Ben, you said that the addition you thought was put on when?
Well, there has been additions on the left-hand side since assessors have records back to late 1700s. That is not the original addition. That one is probably around 1920. It's all sawn lumber, all dimensional stock.
It's in pretty tough shape.
Yeah. So as it stands now, the entire left side is, the floor is rotted. But quite frankly, that's not really the reason. Obviously, that could be repaired. So I'm not leaning towards that reasoning. It's strictly the parking. The reason I believe the house is felt in disrepair is it really couldn't be used as all 4 bedrooms could be used as one parking space. Along with this, obviously, the existing staircase will be moved over. It will be improved for looks. That one was sort of a makeshift staircase. The new one would be all wood, painted skirt boards.
You're talking about the outside staircase, right, Ben?
The one that exists
Yeah.
now, right. As part of tearing the side off, we'd be moving the stairs with it.
As part of this, you're also planning to do new front steps, too.
Right, unrelated to the tear down, but yes, part of this application. On the left side, we'll be rebuilding the stone wall to the left a little bit and obviously putting in a driveway. This driveway will be asphalt. Because of it's going to be a little on the steep side, it has to be paved. The right side has a cobblestone driveway. We'll mimic that by putting a cobblestone apron in the front of the driveway, so from the streetscape, it'll look the same. I think the last page of the plans best describes what we're taking off. You all have a black and white photo with a line through it.
And the new window that you're putting in, did you mention that was gonna be salvaged from somewhere else in the house? Or
I'm hoping to get one from somewhere else in the house to approximate the same year as the rest of the main body of the house. And part of this application includes rebuilding the front steps, which is shown on the second to last page, at least a cutaway of it is.
And the only thing I didn't see was a left elevation in our packet.
There is no left elevation.
So,
It's in the photos mostly.
okay,
So,
just when you take 8 foot off, what's that wall gonna look like? So it's just,
yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
windows,
Yeah.
how they're gonna be configured, trim.
What I do have is a blow-up of that left side elevation you have. That's it there, and it's going to be rebuilt exactly the same as existing. So it's a small window because it's above a kitchen countertop,
Yep.
and that's exactly what we're going to reproduce on the new gable end.
Okay. What's the width of the addition?
So it's 19 feet right to left
Yep.
and 15 feet front to back.
Okay.
So it'll be going from 19 feet to 11.
So the front facade of the house remains the same,
Exactly, yeah,
and for the second unit, it's a side entrance.
correct. I don't want to jump ahead of the zoning board of appeals. I have a hearing with them on the 19th. So any changes to make it into a two-family would be subject to their approval. But they asked me to come here first. They normally make the decisions on whether or not a two-family has a single-family character, and I'm sure they're looking for your input.
But this was a two-family at one point.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Do you happen to know how that existed internally? Was it basically what you're proposing?
Well, there never has been any internal changes since 1800s.
Okay,
So we have a description of the interior of the house from an early deed from 1810.
Okay.
And the interior rooms are exactly the same,
okay, great, thanks.
including the dividing wall between the units.
Right, thank you.
So to answer the question about the door on the right-hand side, that would only happen if the two-family was approved. Otherwise, we just leave it the way it is.
Any questions for Ben?
There's, I can't remember the inside, the front door, the real front door.
Yep.
It seems, it's very narrow space, right?
Yes, it
Before
is.
you hit the steps going up.
Less than 3 feet.
So, that would be the main entrance for,
So the way we're
accessible to both?
going to divide it,
Okay.
of course, again, this is subject to the
Subject.
building department.
Yeah,
But I'm not going to rely on that front door for either unit.
okay.
The left unit has an existing egress door in the back.
Okay.
You saw it as a
Yep.
giant slider.
Okay,
Eight-
that's
eight-foot
right, I
slider.
remember that, okay.
That is something I plan to come back to you as an administrative certificate and change that to a single door. Even though the front entrance will be open to the left unit, or the whole house if it stays single family, we will use that, so there'll be 3 egresses if it stays a single family. Because it is so small.
So the entrances in and out will be through both kitchens.
Exactly, yeah.
With 3 parking spaces.
Right, well, the way it works now is,
How do you divide that up if you have a 2-family?
so the right-hand parking space has always been used as 2 cars tandem, one in front of another.
Okay, yeah?
That's the way it's always been used.
Oh, okay. It's deep enough for that?
Barely. I'm sure they had to buy small cars to fit that. But one of the reasons I'm dividing it, rather than taking the house and dividing it in half, I'm dividing it to the old line, which makes the right-hand side much smaller, maybe 40%.
So Ben, do you need a certificate from this commission? Or are you, or just to go forward, or?
Right.
Just
A certificate, yes.
We're
doing some
demo.
Yeah,
for the zoning?
right. So just so this commission knows that if this isn't converted to a 2-family, I'm still planning on going forward with putting the parking spaces on the left,
Okay.
subject to other approvals, of course.
Ben, could you
But how
Could you
would you put the
clarify?
parking lot spaces in the left if you're not doing any demolition?
Because, no, I mean, if it's not approved for
Oh,
2-family.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you explain to me the access with it looks like a driveway in front of it, but that's a public access?
That was the original North Street.
Okay.
It's still
I
town-owned,
didn't know that.
yeah. There's 3 sections of North Street that have been changed, and they all have little loops on them. One right beyond the Lincoln statue, maybe another one a
Yeah.
couple hundred yards down on the right. Those are all the original ways of North Street, still owned by the town.
So can you drive over that? But can the public still drive over that?
Oh, yeah,
Come
yeah.
down the other
yeah.
side?
Right now, it's actually used as a sidewalk. The sidewalk comes into both ends of that road.
Okay.
That's what you're gonna try next time you go.
Try to pass someone?
Next time Chuck and I are out, I can't park, that's where we're going, Chuck.
Oh, my
Up the
gosh.
hill.
So if any of the members want to keep up with the progress, you can drive right up next to the house and look in the windows.
Well, Chuck didn't get to go to the site visit, so
Yeah.
I was
They
thinking
just
of
wanna
bringing
do
Chuck
that.
by.
Yeah, it was quite a visit. Memorable.
Yeah.
And educational.
These photographs really indicate quite an interior.
For 17th century, right? Yeah, I mean, the living room ceiling was, I think we measured it like 6 foot.
7, 5, actually, the original plaster, yeah.
It was just over 6 foot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was short.
You have to do the roof, or is the roof something that was done? The roof, it looks like it's in better shape than the rest of the house.
Yeah, it is. So the roof was done in 2 phases. The one over the kitchen was done, I'm going to say 20 years ago, and the one in the main house maybe 10 years ago.
You said all the chimneys are working, right?
They're
The
working.
chimneys?
Roof?
The chimneys. I mean, the fireplaces.
The main ones are, yeah.
The main ones are all working.
The one on the left has been abandoned for about 30 years.
Yeah, okay. One other question that actually Jim Macedo brought up is, you've got those, charming bollards, or what are the concretes in the front with, so Any thoughts about,
Well, it is town land.
I know, so maybe they can paint it?
Some of the neighbors have asked the town to do something about it. I think I'm probably too much of a new neighbor to start jumping on that bandwagon, but
Yeah, right.
An Eagle Scout project.
That's a good
Up
idea.
with something. I'm thinking like, you know, not a veneer per se, but something to cover them that make them look like,
Oh, yeah, that was Jim's idea.
he wanted to use
Encase them
wood,
in wood.
but I'm not sure because of the metal in between.
yeah.
I don't know, it's been on my mind.
It still has very industrial-looking cables running through them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Originally, it had wrought iron posts with a wood cap on it, which is not something that they'd be likely to put back.
Oh, my. Okay.
Anything else?
That bottom photo has the original railing on it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. There's still some examples of that in Hingham. There were wrought iron posts, they split on the top and bent them out and laid a 4x4 on the diamond rather than on the flat.
Oh, my goodness. Look at this. This is an amazing picture. When was that, Ben, do you know?
No.
It's really something.
I'm gonna guess around 1910, by the looks of the windows. It's kind of a strange story that it had 6/6 windows somewhere around the late 1800s, 1860s, changed to 2/2s, then changed right back to 6/6s.
Well, I think everybody's glad that you purchased the house because you will be a good steward. You will take care of it. So,
There's a couple other work items that are on the plan, just, there will be some, obviously, with all the work, there'll be landscaping and rebuilding those existing stone walls. If we get to the point where we move that door on the right side, we may clapboard the right-hand side rather than shingles. I don't know if that's something that can be done on a certificate of non-applicability, or should we come back or discuss it tonight?
Mr. Chairman, it's up to you.
Is this going to be just maintenance and repair?
Yeah,
I think this would be something that you could address with Andrea.
yeah. That's what I assume.
Certificate of non-applicability. Just ordinary maintenance. And there's going to be quite a bit of that, so.
You know what color you're gonna paint it?
Not yet.
The yellow is so iconic, I mean, just everybody knows where the house is. It's kind of special, actually.
Look at this, look at that.
I think there may be a photo of it in blue somewhere. I think Chuck has it. Yeah, he does.
Oh, it was blue at one
It
time?
was blue at one time.
What's amazing
Bluish
from
gray.
when that photograph is across the street, there's just nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's no train. It's just,
The town referred to it as the Great Swamp.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
That's gotta be pretty full of water tonight.
Yes, yes.
okay. Should we make a motion at this point?
I don't see why we shouldn't.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Mike, you wanna?
Sure.
Great, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness to 319 North Street for modifications to left side addition based on drawings dated March 16th and March 26th, which would also include site plan improvements regarding expansion of new asphalt paving and relocation and extending of existing stone walls. Left-hand side elevation of addition to match existing elevation in terms of window placement. Application also includes replacement of front steps on the addition as well as the main body of the house.
Installation of a new cobble apron.
Yes.
Driveway.
Granite cobblestones, yeah.
Granite cobbles, natural.
Mhm.
Removal of the staircase,
Existing staircase. yeah.
existing staircase to be removed.
Yep.
I think that's pretty much it. Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Very good.
Good job, Ben.
Very good, Ben, thanks.
Thanks for doing all this work, too.
Oh, good. So hopefully you can make it by sometime.
Yeah, I plan to.
It's going to be a huge improvement. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Ben.
Hey, what's it doing out there? Is it pouring? Oh, good.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Recuse
Okay.
myself from that.
Thanks, Tomas. Do we have anything else after?
I'm sorry, you have to, let's see. Thomas, you have to, I think, put on the record why you're recusing yourself.
Oh, I'm recusing myself. They're my butters, and they supported me in my project when I went in front of the commission, so that's why.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have anything else for Tomas after?
No? Nope, we're all good.
I have to recuse myself as well. I don't really know the rules.
She's a good friend of mine.
Okay,
Is
that makes sense, too.
Is that grounds for that? Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Thanks, Kate.
Thanks.
You're dismissed.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Until next safe trip. Thank you.
Take on a
Thank you.
project like this.
It's gonna be exciting.
Good. I assume you'd be there long enough to see more than just the
Maybe in retirement.
So my mother is coming on Saturday, so I'm flying back Friday.
Okay, where are we in terms of our agenda?
My mother is flying out to Boulder, Colorado to see
Oh,
my school,
right.
too. Yeah.
When's our next agenda item? Oh,
I have no idea what she wants to do with.
a few minutes
She's
from
gotta
now.
basically live with it, right?
You may want to cut us again. We got
See you
about
guys.
20
Thank you.
minutes. Are we ready?
Ready, Mike? Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's start back up again. We have the last application of the evening. This is 24 Middle Street. Sally Weston's in here to talk about renovation and some changes to the rear structure pool building behind the house on 24 Middle. Thanks for coming in, Sally. Good to see you.
So you have a packet in front of you. I think the first drawing is SP 1.1. That's the site plan that shows the little cottage. Believe it or not, we worked on this little building 20 years ago or so, or more. I guess it's more. The late 80s, when the Blairs owned it.
Oh.
It was actually moved. It was over by where the old garage was, and it was moved here. And Michael might bring some old photographs that but it had a little screen porch on it, believe it or not, but it was on the front of it. So we took that off, and it kind of looked like this, except that it was blank here. And we added this little, the Blairs didn't want to spend a lot of money on it, so we just put a little, like, transom window here, and same thing here. But the headroom in the building is really, really tight. I mean, it's like, you know, you can't even get up the stairs, you bonk your head. So I'd say it's a little bit of a mongrel. I don't know, it just, you know, again, they didn't want to do a lot. So really what the Monteros are looking to do is just change the roof configuration so they can actually get up the stairs.
Yeah, I mean, look
Because
at,
Michael and, so these are Michael's pictures inside the building. So when you start up the stairs, he hits his head. And then when he's upstairs, he hits his head. And then you can see through the little transom window. So I think this section explains it pretty clearly, that this is what's there now. And all we're looking to do is create kind of a little gambrel. So from the front, you're just gonna see roof shingle now instead of these little dormers, you know, so that when you go up the stairs, we're gonna cut out a little bit of the stair right here, so when you stand on that first step, you'll have opening above your head, and you can get up the stairs. That's really what it's all about. So from taking these kind of funny little windows out and just making it we're just raising these, making the windows taller. And when the gambrel roof happens like this, you'll get a little bit of roof shingle here, which it doesn't have right now. You can see it just kind of goes along with the gutter, which I think is a little nicer too. And we're going to move the door to center. Right now it's just a little bit off center, and move that one window over so we can get like 2 little shutters. So that's really, it's really it, just kind of changing that little bit of roof right there to get rid of those funny transits.
Sally, are those 2 front windows the same size? To the left?
These? Yeah, I think they are, but one's so much closer to the door.
Oh, I see, and plus
Yeah.
one has the shade down or
Yes,
something, so it
yeah.
appears to be a different size.
Yeah. So I think, again, in your packet, you've got a site plan, and then the little rendering showing the picture. And then the SK 1.2 is the left side elevation, so you can see how we're planning to change it, is just that window above the bay all stays, and the little window above will get a little taller. The rear shed really stays, it's just kind of creating this space so you can stand up. So,
Is the ridge height?
ridge doesn't change.
Ridge height the same as?
It's exactly the same. Yep, you can see, it's the same here. And the shed dormer in the back of the gambrel is the exact same. It's just we're adding this little bit of detail here, and then we're gonna change that. That shed will stay, and then the gambrel comes down. So it's kind of all pieced on, but it's kind of using these two like that, and then adding the gambrel in, just so we can get this head height. So really, from the front, the only real change that you're gonna really see is you're gonna see more roof shingle versus these kind of funny, sort of inappropriate windows, I think. But
Do you have to rebuild the entry stairs?
no, those were actually rebuilt recently with the last go-round that we did. They were rotten, so they just rebuilt this little stoop, and it was exactly what it was when they did the addition to the house. But the door is a little odd that it's not on center.
So that's why I was wondering if you were
Yeah.
gonna do the whole.
Yeah, no, this is actually on center. That isn't. So,
Sally, on the windows, the 3 windows in the front.
Yeah.
You're raising the height of the windows,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So this actually stays where it is pretty much. We're just making those windows bigger because it, I don't know, looks like it has a hood on it or something. I don't know, it just looks a little odd. And I think the windows are at 5 feet, and Michael and Jen, the owners, are both fairly tall, so, you know, they're like looking out like this.
Right, it reminds me of a snack bar in Provincetown. I was trying to figure out what it was, and it's the little transoms, and that's
Yeah,
a big,
yeah, they're not, you know.
a big
And I don't know
change.
when those were put on, again, in the late 80s, when, I think when we first worked on it. This one was here, and we just added this one for light when we moved the little building, but that was the only change. But again, they didn't want to redo the whole roof, and
Does the main building have a gambrel? I'm trying to remember.
no, it's just a cape. The gambrel is really so that we can just get headroom rather than adding more dormers. And, I mean, we came up with a gable with a little shed dormer on either side, and it just got to be a lot. So we just said if we do a gambrel, which, I mean, from the street, you wouldn't know if it was a gambrel or cape, honestly, because you just see roof shingle. You're just not, you know, and even from this sketch, standing at this location, it's hard to tell where the knuckle is because I call this the knuckle of the gambrel. The roof is so shallow that, you know, it kind of looks almost like a cape. You're just going to see all that roof shingle.
Sally, I don't have a whole lot of questions on the on what you're proposing here. I was just curious, the full baths in an outbuilding,
It's existing.
So was this a rental property at one point?
No,
or-
no, they always had a little cottage. I don't know if people have stayed in it or not, but, you know,
I'm just curious, like 2 full baths in an outbuilding, you know, just as far as zoning, I don't know the answer.
It's what's existing. We have a lavatory downstairs. We're just moving the tub upstairs. So, I mean, I know that there has been precedent in the past that if somebody has facilities like this in other buildings, you're allowed to keep it, so.
So it's grandfathered.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I know one example is down on Otis Street. It's kind of a Victorian, I forget it's actually right next to where the Blairs moved to. But that had a big, you know, it had a guest house, and they were allowed to rebuild it. I mean, it's like a whole house, has kitchen, everything in it, and that was a number of years ago. So,
This is the yellow house? Is it yellow?
it's blue with white trim. Yeah. It actually has a whole separate building down by the water.
I think this is a pleasing improvement.
And you might save Mr. Montero from a concussion.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
others, really anyone.
Or
Yeah.
anybody.
From a
Even I have a hard time getting up those stairs, believe it or not.
Part of its charm.
Well,
Well, quirky things,
Yeah.
they have their own charm.
yeah, but I don't know when that was really, I mean, that was not original to the house.
No,
those
no, I'm not
funny
saying
little-
it
yeah.
is, but
It'll still be very charming.
Mm.
You know.
Right.
Any other questions, comments? Pretty straightforward?
I think it's a great improvement, both internally and externally.
Okay, we ready for a motion then? Lois, 2 in one night, maybe?
he always squints at me and says, Lois,
It's all there, right?
this one's easy.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd like to make a motion for 24 Middle Street. To change the configuration of the pool house according to plans submitted dated dated 4/4/2017. And those would be plans, do you want me to list them all off, Andrew?
No, you don't need to, I can pick that up.
SP 1.1 through A3.1. We didn't change anything, so I think that does it.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Yay.
Must have been that handsome fella.
That was
Wanted to know if we
busting his head
should
on
do
the-
that poster size. I said 8 by 10 should do it.
Yeah.
Great.
You're all set?
Yeah, great, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Got wet for nothing. Thanks, Sally.
All right.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to conclude the Historic Districts Commission meeting for this evening. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.